FBI agents John Crawford and Tom Lone are in the middle of a shootout with the Yakuza at the docks. After a 2-minute break, both agents head back inside, guns ready, passing a number of bodies including agents on the way in. Tom spots the Yakuza assassin and rushes in, but immediately they come under heavy gunfire. John and Tom shoot their way in after the assassin, skillfully taking out the gangsters. The assassin has seemingly disappeared but suddenly ambushes and shoots John. Before he can end him, Tom fires off shots, hitting the assassin in the face, sending him into the water. Tom is certain that he killed the guy, but John seems worried, as he knows who the assassin is. Turns out the assassin was a former CIA killer named Rogue who turned Yakuza, rumored to be legendary, but Tom thinks it's just stories. With that, both men think it is over. 3 days later, Tom is at home with his wife and daughter, planning to attend a game with John, who is on vacation due to his injuries. They talk about how the Yakuza operation was leaked, but have no idea who the mole is. The FBI has not found Rogue's body, but Tom is certain that he is dead from his injuries. Meanwhile, Rogue pulls up and steps out of his car armed, walking casually towards the house. Tom is in the bathroom when his wife is suddenly attacked. Tom comes to check but gets shot in his face, falling into the room where his wife is holding their son. Rogue coldly shoots his wife and son dead, before killing Tom and burning down their home. John and his wife pull up and are shocked to see the burnt home with cops outside. John steps out, and learns from the cops of the 3 deaths and breaks down after seeing Tom's body. John heads inside and looking around he spots something, which turns out to be the same bullet he found at the Yakuza operation belonging to Rogue. 3 years later, Rogue reappears in America, and heads inside a Yakuza-controlled club. He brutally kills the men guarding the back room before stepping inside where the wealthy clients get freaky. The gangsters inside hear a gunshot and grab their weapons. The boss sends his 2 dogs to find the intruder, but after a while only one dog returns with a bomb strapped to its collar which kills all the men. Rogue walks in, standing over the underboss, who wonders why Rogue is betraying them, but Rogue shoots him dead. A few minutes later, John and his team turn up to the scene, with John now being the head of his task force. It turns out one gangster had survived the blast as he was underneath another body. John puts on his gloves and begins to torture the man for information, but the man simply begs for death before Rogue returns. As John is about to leave, he spots Rogue's signature silver bullet laying nearby and has a flashback to Tom's murder. In the 3 years since Tom's death, John has been tirelessly hunting Rogue, so much that his wife has divorced him, calling his work an obsession. She reminds him of their son's baseball game and warns him not to lose his son as well. The next day, John introduces newly graduated Agent Goy as a new member of his team. John hands his team files on Rogue, telling them that Rogue is the one who wiped out the Yakuza. They are confused as to why Rogue would wipe out his own men, and John thinks that maybe he switched sides. John tells Goy about the Yakuza boss Shiro and the Triad boss Chang, and how years ago Shiro killed Chang's entire family and then sold all of Chang's family heirlooms except 2 statuettes, for which Shiro is currently seeking a buyer. John, on the other hand, does not care for their family feud, and is solely focused on catching Rogue. We then meet Rogue, a small Chinese man, as he gets ready and arms himself. Rogue arrives at Triad boss Chang's residence, revealing that he is currently working for them. He meets with Chang, who refers to him as Mr. Shaw, thanking him for helping to wipe out his enemies. They both make a toast, but Rogue does not drink. Chang thinks it will be difficult to trust a man who betrayed his master, but Rogue declares that he has no master. Chang is focused on the current mission he has for Rogue, to return his statues back to him. He wonders if Rogue is up for the task. He introduces Rogue to the T brothers that will assist him, but secretly Chang tells them to watch Rogue closely. We then meet Yakuza boss Shiro as he is sparring with a skilled underling. Shiro gets distracted and his clothing is cut by the young man. The boy apologizes sincerely, but Shiro slices off his ear for the act. He meets with his daughter Kira, who tells him that the buyers will arrive in America for the deal. Shiro wants Kira to return to America to oversee the deal, despite her wanting to stay with the clan, as he does not trust the people he is working there. John heads to an underground fight club to meet with the organizer Benny, who openly refuses to talk to the feds. This is just a show for his men, as the two are good friends. Benny was able to find the man who makes the bullet Rogue uses. Unfortunately, he was killed a while ago. Benny also found out that 2 plastic surgeons were recently killed after crossing paths with Rogue. All but one surgeon, who Benny thinks is hiding out, but will alert John the moment he is found. We then see Rogue paying off a cop for the impending deal. That night, Shiro's men hide the statues inside cars and has a convoy transport them, but before they can leave the shipping yard they are intercepted by a team of cops. The cops gather up all the men, lining them against a fence. The police captain Andrews shows up, demanding that he get his cash so that they can continue on their way. Andrews gets the cash and the men think all is well, but are suddenly gunned down by Chang's men, with Rogue giving orders. Rogue then has the men take the cars back to his safe house, revealing the golden statues. John and his team arrive at the crime scene where he immediately figures out that a heist took place and realizing that the cops must have been involved. John goes directly to confront Captain Andrews, accusing him of being involved with criminals. Andrews denies it, but John begins to beat his ass all the way to the bathrooms, before holding a gun to Andrews. The captain reveals that he was blackmailed by an unknown individual who threatened to kill his family unless he got involved. John realizes that he is being used, and is having his team escort Andrews to custody when a sniper shoots him, killing him. It is Rogue, and John instantly races after him. Rogue realizes he is being chased and escapes to the roof of the building. John is on his heels, trying to intercept Rogue and almost succeeds, but Rogue manages to escape. Rogue contacts John directly using a voice changer, telling him to meet at a warehouse in 1 hour if he wants the golden horses. John has a whole squad pull up to the warehouse where he finds Chang heading inside and intercepts him. John has Chang open the warehouse where they see no other than Rogue standing in the middle of the room. John moves forward to arrest him, but Rogue has no weapons and puts up no resistance. John thinks there is something familiar about Rogue's eyes but cannot remember from where. John wants to know his entire deal and why he is working for the Triad, but Rogue remains silent. John tries to get a reaction out of him, reminding him of his partner and his family who Rogue killed, but Rogue keeps his cool. John checks his ID, which shows the name Victor Shaw, and finds no evidence linking him to actually being Rogue. John has no choice but to back off for now, but warns Rogue that one day he will take him down. Chang meets with Rogue afterwards, impressed that he knew the FBI would turn up. Chang wants Rogue to stick around and oversee his operations, to which Rogue agrees. John then goes on a manhunt for Rogue, hitting all the major Yakuza and Triad spots, but Rogue manages to evade him every step of the way. Meanwhile, Rogue has turned up secretly to Chang's home as he is with his wife and daughter, but simply leaves. The next day Rogue is cleaning his gun when Chang's daughter comes by wanting to play. Rogue hides the gun in an apparent magic trick, but Mrs. Chang warns him to stay away from her daughter. The eldest brother Wu comes by after, declaring that he is still in charge of things despite Rogue being so close to Chang, but Rogue subtly reminds him that things change every day. The next night, Rogue rides a bike to a Yakuza spot, taunting the gangsters there and causing them to chase after him. Rogue leads them into Triad territory and into a trap, causing the Yakuza and Triad gangsters to engage in a brutal fight. Leading the Yakuza is the younger brother Joey, and Rogue kills his partners before chasing and cornering him in a tunnel. Joey is shocked to see Rogue, who begins to mercilessly beat him down, before impaling him with a sword with a Triad tag. John and his team turn up to the scene, knowing that a war is brewing. Wu gets the news and wants Chang to retaliate, but knowing that the cops are watching him, Chang orders him to do nothing. Rogue is listening nearby, and after, Chang makes Rogue promise that his wife and daughter will be safe. Rogue meets Wu outside, telling him that a man must defend his honor before handing him a box of matches with the Yakuza tea house logo stamped on it. FBI agents Goy and Wick are observing the tea house when they see top-ranking Yakuza gangsters enter. A little while after, Wu and his men pull up from a back alley and begin killing the men on their way in. They ambush the Yakuza gangsters and cut them down in a hail of bullets. A shootout then ensues, and Goy and Wick are forced to jump into action and engage the gangsters. John pulls up to the scene and manages to take out a few men before he and Wick head in to arrest the men. Suddenly a sniper begins firing at them, forcing them to take cover. In the chaos, Wick gets shot and killed, and Wu manages to escape from John. He is forced to battle the number of gangsters trying to kill him, but defeats them and kills the man that shot Wick. As he heads outside, he spots Rogue leaving the scene in his car and chases after him. The two race across the city, with John staying on Rogue's tail. The two pull up alongside each other, but John is distracted and ends up crashing, causing Rogue to escape. Chang is having dinner with his family when he gets a call from Rogue telling him about Wu disobeying his orders and is forced to take action against him. Rogue goes to meet with Kira at the Triad base, where she tells him that Shiro has one more job for him. Rogue was tasked with destroying Chang's operations, but now Shiro wants the heads of his wife and child. Rogue is hesitant, and Kira thinks he is disobeying her father and tries to intimidate him, but realizes that Rogue is above her skill set. John gets a call from Benny telling him that they found the plastic surgeon hiding out in Mexico. Both Benny and John turn up to the man's hideout and sit him down to talk. The man is scared of what might happen to him, but eventually tells John that 3 years ago Rogue appeared with his face torn off and he turned him into the man he now is. That night, Chang is alone in his office when Wu enters holding him at gunpoint, saying that Chang made him lose everything. Wu shoots Chang in the stomach, but Rogue appears and beats him down before finishing him off. Chang looks to Rogue for help, but Rogue simply shoots him dead. He heads into the room where Chang's wife and child are hiding and 2 shots ring out. At that moment, Triad gangsters appear at the location and wipe out the rest of the Yakuza. Rogue tells them that the entire family is dead, but before they can go to take their heads, Rogue attacks them. With lightning moves, he kills the men there. He reveals that Chang's wife and daughter are still alive and allows them to drive away. John gets photos from a team posted at the mansion, and realizes that Rogue has been playing both sides. Shiro himself arrives in America to take control of Yakuza operations when John and his team gets news and turn up. John accuses him of sending Rogue to kill Tom and his family, but Shiro claims that Rogue is a myth. John shows him the photos of Rogue killing his men, but despite being shocked, Shiro still denies knowing who Rogue is. Rogue later turns up to deliver the horses personally to Shiro, who pretends as if all is well. He accepts the golden horse and hands over his payment, but inside are also the pictures of Rogue's betrayal. Shiro's men hold Rogue at gunpoint, ordering them to torture him for the location of Chang's wife and child. After, Shiro realizes that the statues are fakes. As the men lead him away, Rogue jumps into action, taking out one man instantly. The other tries to put up a fight, but Rogue is too fast and manages to kill him. Rogue returns and blows up Shiro's office, before shooting and killing all of his men. Shiro has survived and grabs a sword nearby. Rogue also grabs a sword and steps forward to face him. Rogue reveals that Shiro ordered a hit in the past, having a flashback to Tom's family's murder. The two men charge at each other, trying to cut each other down, but Rogue is too fast and easily knocks Shiro down. Shiro manages to injure Rogue, forcing him to use one arm, but Rogue returns the favor, stabbing Shiro. Rogue then reveals that he is not the real Rogue, who was actually killed the day he attacked Tom and his family, but he is in fact Tom, who survived and altered himself to appear as Rogue. Shiro in turn reveals to Rogue that John has been working for him all along and was the one who revealed his address. Rogue begins to brutally slice Shiro down before killing him and setting off to confront John. Meanwhile, Chang's wife receives a package from Tom, containing one of the two golden horses that belongs to Chang's family and a message reading, "Make a new life." Shiro's daughter also receives a package with the same message, but inside the box is her father's head. Tom calls John, who still has no idea who he is, and tells him to meet at the place they first encountered each other. John accepts, but before heading out he contacts Goy for backup. Crawford shows up at the warehouse, shouting at Rogue to show himself. Rogue ambushes and disarms him, and the two begin to brawl it out, throwing some heavy punches and using anything they can find to demolish each other. Rogue reveals that he is really Tom, demanding an explanation as to the reason John betrayed him, but John is speechless. The two crash through a window in pain, where John reveals that he didn't know they would send Rogue, and Shiro only stated that he wanted to teach Tom a lesson. Tom is about to finish John off, but remembering that Goy is there, John jumps between them, causing Tom to shoot him in the back, apparently killing him. The next day we see Rogue heading off to start a new life. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications, so you can watch more movies like this. Thanks for watching.